Greetings, welcome back to Signature Sense. My name is Ryan and I am super excited. Today we're going to be testing out Fresco. This is Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, homage to the original Old Spice fresh scent released by Schulten Old Spice in 1988. We're going to look at the really cool backstory of this stuff and we're going to break down its notes, its character, and we're going to decide ultimately, is this a signature scent? Is it a collectible? Is it one that we're going to pass on? Okay, let's dive in. Okay, so let's talk about the really cool backstory, origin story of how this stuff come out. It's got a really cool story, which I really think helps set up the significance of this stuff and why I am really excited about it. One of the reasons I'm very excited about, outside of how it actually smells. Old Spice Fresh was released, as I mentioned, in 1988 by the original Schulten company. This was a flanker to the original Old Spice everyone knows that comes in those porcelain bottles. This one comes in more like a blue type of bottle. So this scent came out during the times of like Drakkar, Noir, and it's classified as an aromatic fougere. And so this guy was going and looking for different stuff, and he was at CVS. He didn't really know he was fragrance shopping, but he said that his like best friend or good friend was wearing Drakkar Noir, but Drakkar Noir was very expensive. And so he ended up finding this stuff, and he said that he had smelled the musk, the Old Spice, and then he smelled this stuff, and he didn't originally like the other ones, but something about this stuff really connected with him. So he ended up buying it, and this was in 1991, and the rest is, as they say, kind of history. So when he started getting into perfuming, he went on eBay and he searched for an Old Spice Fresh bottle, a vintage one. He found it, and then he decided to create this homage. And so he's put a lot of effort in this. He's got a huge backstory, which I'll put a link to where you can read all about it. It's really cool, the whole story behind how this came about. So let's dive in and talk about the smell test, the note breakdown, and all that good stuff. Okay, so let's talk about the note breakdown and some of the ingredients, which I think are worth promoting to really capture the essence of this stuff. So the note breakdown, according to the site, so this is the aromatic fougere with a top of orange, galbanum, bergamot, lime, lemon, lavender, and black currant, with a heart of rose, cardamom, lily of the valley, built on a base of patchouli, oponox, if I'm saying that right, opoponox, cedar, oak moss, and ambergris. He says it's herbaceous, citrusy, and fresh, and that's a really cool breakdown. So I want to talk a little bit also about the ingredients as well, because I love to promote that from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, because it really shows you how quality this stuff is. So you have the alcohol, lavender hydrosol, the essential fragrance oils of the notes I mentioned, vegetable glycerin, aloe vera, seaweed and bayberry extract, and fresh galbanum resin. That's it. There's no preservatives. There's no synthetic stuff. It's all natural. So I'm really excited. So what we're going to do is we're going to smell this out of the bottle and on some paper to get a baseline to see how this stuff may or may not mold on yours and my skin. We're going to put it on the skin, get an initial reaction, and then I'm going to disappear and give it a run for its money, and I'll come back and report what I observed about it. Okay, let's get some out of the bottle. Okay, here's the bottle. Let's give it a smell. So my first reaction to this is this smells like a very clean, nice, fresh body wash. And it just smells so high quality because of the naturals. This isn't your synthetic body wash. This would be like in the high-end soap smell. Very, very soapy. Kind of reminiscent of the Drakkar. I'm gonna be honest with you, and I might get flack for this. I actually had a bottle of vintage Drakkar that I ordered off eBay after all the hype. I smelled it, I wasn't a huge fan of it, and I immediately returned it. This is super fresh and clean. What am I getting out of the notes? It's really hard to say. It's very condensed. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this on the paper and see how the profile develops. Okay, so let's give this a smell on the paper. And I wanna say one of the notes about this was a reviewer mentioned this stuff smells like an 80s flick. So this is supposed to be like those classic 80s aromatic fougères. And I have to tell you, it's already giving me vibes of Drakkar in the sense of that body wash, but this smells better to my nose already. Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh. Okay, so how it's different on the paper. It still has that soapy smell, but now this heart of the floral is coming through. And I know it says rose. I'm not getting rose. I'm getting more of like, I guess it would be the lily of the valley. It's a nice soapy floral, very soapy floral. It's not like an old man floral, like kind of like some of the old man roses. This is very, very pleasant. A little bit of orange, bergamot, lavender. I mean, it's super soapy. It's a super soapy scent. It's very, very clean. It just smells so clean. Oh, this is one that you want to just bury your nose in. I really, really like it out the paper. I cannot wait to see how this is going to morph on my skin. So I'm going to go ahead and decant that bottle, and then I'm going to come back and spray on the skin. Okay, I'm back to spray, and I just took a quick peek on Fragrantica, and this has basically the same note breakdown as the original, according to Fragrantica. And that soapy smell I was getting, that soapy floral, is that lily of the valley. I wouldn't actually looked it up. And the lily of the valley is associated with having a very soapy smell, so you're getting a lot of that on the paper, and I'm really looking forward to it. If you haven't smelled it before, it's fantastic. So let's go ahead and spray this on the skin. I'm going to get some on my hand. I'm also going to put it on the neck as well. Really nice wet spot there. So let's go ahead and put some on the neck as well. See what I get in the air. Ooh. Wow. It smells like you're spraying on a high-end body wash soap. It's just... When you're wafting this around, this has just got this aura of cleanliness. This is like super clean. It smells like you just got out of the shower or out of the spa. It's just like, oh, it's so nice. So let's give this a second to dry down. All right, let's dive in. Okay, so it is different on my skin. This is a really cool evolution to smell from the bottle to the paper to the skin. Basically what's going on is, as it goes down from the ones I just mentioned, the bottle, paper, skin, the floral heart is just becoming more and more pronounced off my skin. It is the case. There's a nice, it's somewhere in the middle. It's like a powdery but not talky or baby powdery. It's almost like a powdery lily of the valley that gives it this very pleasant. It's not just the flower smell, but it's how it comes off into the nose. It's sort of like a powdery fresh smell. The bergamot is there. It might be the galbanum that's helping, giving that little bit of the it's a mix between powdery and polleny. Orange, fresh. Nothing is really extreme. Like, it's not like extreme citrus or extreme this or extreme that. The top of that citrusy top, it's got lemon, lime, and orange. It's got black currant. It's also got the bergamot. They weave together to create this very nice top that sits on that lily of the valley. And there's that slight powdery. It just screams soap. That is really the best thing, like I said, I'm not getting any of the base yet, which is not a huge surprise. I'm also not really getting a really strong rose, but I'm guessing that rose is wrapped in the Lily of the Valley. If I really looked for it, I could probably find it. But yeah, this is just screaming fresh, clean soap, but a very high quality. This isn't a synthetic one. This is very, very high quality. So I'm going to go ahead and sit with this for a while. I will let you know about how it projects and all that good stuff. So I'll check back in a little bit. For you, it's going to be like a 1 second. Okay, I am back and I have some observations to share about this scent Fresco. Let me first talk about the dry down stages, and I'll get into projection, the charm, and all that good stuff. So, dry down stages. So after the first hour or so, you're still getting a lot of the top end of this with the citruses, and also what I didn't catch before was a eucalyptus. Now this eucalyptus, it's not a pure, if you've ever smelled like an essential oil eucalyptus, it's not quite as that kind of green. It's a little bit off-putting as well. The eucalyptus here contributes a nice little mentholated smell. Even at where I'm at a little over 7 hours in, I'm still off the skin getting a nice invigorating smell from the eucalyptus. So after the first hour, what's happening is you're starting to transition where the opening notes are coming down, they're still there, and the Lily of the Valley that's always been there, which is kind of the main character of this scent, starts to mushroom and takes the center stage and really what's being painted. And also, after about 1 hour or so, give or take, you start getting more of the base. You get a nice mossy, herbally greenness and a little bit of a woods, which takes this scent and keeps it masculine leaning. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about the blend of this stuff in a little bit. So that's after the first hour or so. And also, you have a nice cardamom spice. Again, it's not a pure cardamom. Like if you were to go in your spice cabinet and smell a jar of cardamom, it's not going to be like that. The cardamom contributes that nice little spicy tingle, that's little zest, and you get a faint cardamom, but it blends in so nicely with the Lily of the Valley that it almost they merge together to create this unified note. And that's after the first hour or so. Now, this scent continues to mushroom up to the 2 to 3 hour mark. And the Lily of the Valley, it all kind of comes together about the 2 hour mark, where the everything becomes the loudest, but at the same time, the scent kind of reaches that perfect blend of this soapiness, this high-end soapy fragrance. And I'll talk more about that in the charm section. Okay, so after the 2 hour mark, this is where the scent, that climax is kind of where you're getting, and then from there the volume just gets turned down a little bit, but it reaches this beautiful kind of crescendo of a scent of the blend. Now, let me now segue into the projection, how this stuff projects and performs. I actually have a little story about my little trip to Nordstrom that goes along with this. So, as I mentioned, this scent really surprised me in that today is in the low 40s in Portland, and I was having a nice scent bubble in the cold weather. So in contrast to some of the other Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements where I wasn't really getting them in the cold, but I get them nicely indoors, especially as the heat. This one's a cold weather champion. It wasn't like I was getting wafts. It was just there, a solid scent bubble. This is at the first 2 to 3 hours. It's really, really strong. Not strong like beef smell, but it's just there. There's like no interruption, okay? So then, at about the 2 hour mark, give or take, I went into Nordstrom's, and I actually went to Nordstrom's to go and play around and smell some of the scents there. And I figured this may knock me out. I was actually worried about, I'm kind of in the middle of this test, but I wanted to go and smell a couple scents, and I was worried that this may knock out the smell and I wouldn't smell it for the rest of the day or for like a big chunk of time. So I spent some time in Nordstrom smelling some stuff on the strips. I left at Nordstrom's. I kind of forgot about it. And I was walking down the street. Now, if you ever walk in a city before, there is a lot of, not just smells, but sights, noises, a lot of stimulation. And so sometimes what you're wearing can get pushed to the back and you forget it's even there until you get by yourself. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm wearing some nice cologne or whatever, right? I'm walking down the street and there's people around and I got this whiff of something. I'm like, wow, that smells nice. I'm like, what is that person wearing? And I've made it a habit to like go up to people and ask them if I smell something good. I'll actually go up to them and ask them, hey, what do you wear? And kind of get an idea. So it's just kind of for my own lexicon. So I'm walking on, I couldn't quite pin it on anybody. And then I find myself on a block by myself and I'm still smelling it, and it's getting stronger, and I'm like, oh my God, that's me. That's this stuff. I mean, it's really incredible. The projection on this stuff is really, of all the ones I've tested from, this is at the top percentile as far as the way this stuff projects. At the 3-hour mark, it kind of hits the top of it, and then it comes closer. Now, while it's projecting, though, it is there. You're looking at least arm's distance, if not more. Nice sillage trail, and I'm at the 7-hour mark. I'm actually, yeah, a little over the 7-hour mark now. And what happens is the volume gets turned down. And what happened for me is after that massiveness, it started to transition. I actually lost it for a little bit, for like an hour. And I thought, oh, this stuff just kind of disappeared, right? But actually what happened is I think I went nose blind too, because here I am at 7-hour mark later, and I'm still getting wispy wafts of this stuff as I'm sitting here in my somewhat warm apartment. It's still there. It's not, granted, it's not way out there, but you have a nice scent bubble. It's there. It's definitely something that people are going to pick up if you're moving about. And certainly if someone's leaning in, they're going to get this smell. Okay, let me talk and give some time to acknowledge the quality of the smell. There's a couple of things I want to talk about. I want to talk about the quality of the smell and the blend. So first, the quality of the smell. The quality of the stuff, just with Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, the rest of my tested, is incredible. It is truly, truly remarkable. It is top end. The naturals in this scent. If you haven't watched my past videos, this guy diffuses some of his own oils. The scent is all natural, the natural oils. It smells like it. This is, again, I've said this before, nobody will ever tell you while wearing these scents that you smell like cheap cologne. These smell high end. The quality is up there. Okay, now let me talk about the blend. I've tested several of the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements so far. Now, this one takes the cake for me so far as the one with the best blend. Now, some of theirs are very one-note focus centric. Like, for example, they have the Good Vibrations. That one for me is very Hedione. It's almost like a one-note thing with a little bit of supporting cast painting, but it's really just Hedione. This one is kind of that way with Lily of the Valley, but when you start actually smelling how this guy has balanced the bass, this masculine bass with a fresh and sort of feminine front of it, the heart and the opening, and how he's used the bass to keep it from going too feminine, but it's not too masculine. It's like masculine leaning. I mean, casually in the air, you're not going to get that. You're just going to appreciate, wow, that stuff. Like, I was in the street, like, dude, what is that? It smells so good. But when you, someone as a connoisseur and who likes to like look at that stuff, I am super impressed. I want to give the perfumer just a round of applause as a well done on this one. The blend is truly remarkable. It smells like one note, but at the same time, when you dive in, you're getting that Lily of the Valley soapiness. You have this nice spiciness, which is coming from the cardamom, but you don't really know it's cardamom unless you're looking for it. A lot of this stuff is, you don't know what it is unless you're looking for it. Again, a little spiciness there. You got this nice herbalness coming from the moss, the oak moss. You have a little bit of a woodsiness, giving this kind of mysterious masculinity as well. The patchouli is also the ambergris, the openox. You have the eucalyptus giving this nice invigorating freshness, even at the 7-hour mark. I mean, the way this stuff is blended is just, it is something to remark about, and so I wanted to make sure I put that in there. The quality the quality for me is a 10 out of 10. Segue into longevity. I already kind of gave it away. I'm at a little over the 7-hour mark, and this stuff is still churning. I am still getting wafts of this stuff. I think you're going to get at least 8 hours of this stuff and out of the stuff, and probably much, much longer than that. You could probably will still pick it up on your skin at the 10-hour mark. Again, and if you like, and I'll also mention, I have to remark, this one I did not put on my clothes. I think this one will stretch something. I have a sneaking suspicion because of the way this performed in the cold weather. Something, my gut tells me that this stuff is going to project very, very nicely off of clothes. So I would encourage you to experiment with that. I also think that if you like the smell, as I've mentioned in the past from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, all of their scents, you can layer these with, they have this was the EDC/aftershave. They have EDPs. They have the deodorant. They have the shampoo conditioner. They have soaps. They have lotion. They have solid colognes. I've heard good stuff about the solid colognes too. You can layer this and you can just surround yourself so you're immersed in this scent. Even without it though, I think you're going to get a lot of legs out of this. Now, I also want to segue into the value, because this contributes into the longevity. This stuff is $26 for 100 mil, and you know, you can stretch the longevity, just reapply. Once it's 2 to 3 hour mark, if you want to get that volume and keep that volume up, just keep a little sprayer in your pocket, or you know, if you go back home, you can reapply. Just put a little bit more on if you want. I mean, you can easily stretch this out. You can spray without worry. I mean, to knock these bottles out, 100 mil is going to take a while to knock out, especially if you have more scents in your collection, and it only costs 26 bucks to replace it. You really cannot go wrong spraying this stuff as much as you want. And also, if you saw me when I put it on my skin, I didn't really put that much on. I maybe put, I don't know, maybe a spray or two on my neck, and I put one on my chest. I didn't even come close to overspraying this. If I was going to put this on as a serious wear, I would be putting on at least probably 8 to 10 sprays of this stuff all over my body. And I'm sure you're going to get probably more of this, especially if you're putting on clothes. Okay, so let me now segue into the charm of this stuff. And I kind of talked about, for me, the charm of this stuff is that blend, but that soapiness. So let me talk about that soapiness and start comparing and contrasting this to the likes of like Drakkar Noir, which this is based on a scent, a homage to a scent that came out in the 80s around that aromatic fougere, which is really spearheaded by that Drakkar Noir. And the perfumer even mentioned it on the sales page for this stuff about how his friends were wearing Drakkar Noir, but he couldn't afford it. And he ended up going with the Old Spice Fresh, and he fell in love with that more. And I also alluded to in the beginning of this video that I had already purchased Drakkar Noir, a vintage bottle, and I sent it back. And how I separate these two is like this. I'm going to say it very simply. Drakkar Noir, for me, it does have that body wash smell, but it smells like a cheaper body wash, like a generic body wash scent. This stuff smells like a high-end soap. It smells like you just stepped out of the spa. You just took you changed your clothes from the robe, you put your clothes on, and you just left the building, and you still have that fresh, high-end, like $30 a bar soap, if even something exists like this. And that ties in this charm, how I felt while wearing this. And then kind of the personification of this. I felt clean, I felt attractive, and I felt high scale. I felt attractive. I literally approached several women out today asking for phone numbers, introducing myself, and it put me in that mood where I just want to go and put myself out there, and it worked. It's a people pleaser type of scent, and it puts you in that mood to just be social because you just feel so fresh, you feel so good, you just want to put yourself out there. So it makes me also feel high end. Like, I'm glad I wore nice clothes today, and it makes you feel like you should be wearing nice clothes. Like, yes, this could work as a nice gym set, and I have seen comments that it is like that. But even if you're wearing gym clothes, you don't want to wear like wrinkled up shirts and like shorts with holes in it. This is one where you want to wear nice gym clothes. So it has an elegance, it has a certain class to it. This is a very classy, elegant soapiness and a very high-end smell, and it's just something that I loved smelling myself and loved sharing with other people. Like, I know this, like I said on the sidewalk, I know other people will love this smell, and I bet you anything that this is a massive compliment getter. Okay, let me talk now about my final judgments. What do I think about the scent? Is this something that I would buy? How invested in it am I in actually? Now, I've kind of already given it away. I am super in love with this scent. This shot right up the top, this is tied with like the CAD, with the Good Vibrations, the Hedione, and also with the Club Guy, their homage to the Pinot Clubman. But this stuff has carved out its own niche. So the Club Guy and the CAD are like those freshies, those fresh barber shop ones. You have the the Good Vibrations, and the Awesome Sauce a little bit too, which is like the sweeter, the date night kind of sense. This one for me is the soapy one. This is the one that I want to put on like after shower. Like, I'm a huge fan of soapy fragrances. Up until I smelled this, my favorite soapy fragrance was Bogart Signature. Bogart, or just Bogart, some people call it Bogart Signature. That's been my go-to. When I want to smell soapy, I put that on. But that one's more of a greener, herbally soapy. This is more of a spicy, floral, slightly green soapiness. And for me, this one edges out Bogart because primarily of the quality of the way that this stuff smells. Bogart is very, very nice, but at the end of the day, there's a lot of synthetics in there, a lot of aroma chemicals, as they call them. This smells on a whole other level. For me, at this time of making this video, This is my #1 Soapy fragrance, by far the best Soapy fragrance I have gotten my nose on to date. I am not kidding about that. I love it. So yes, I would recommend buying this. Let's talk now about the versatility and all that stuff. When does this scent work? Who's it for? If you love Soapy fragrances, this is the first Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements that I can tell you this is a blind buy worthy. If you're not financially in a place to do that, don't feel like you want to, just get a sample. It's like it costs $1 to get any of these samples. But if you have the money and you like Soapy fragrances, I think this is easily blind buy worthy. I would tell myself, if I would go back in the past, I would say, listen, man, don't get a sample of this, just get the bottle, because this one is by far worth it. It is slightly masculine leaning, or it is, I would say not slightly, it is masculine leaning. But there is enough feminine components to this for women who kind of like that, a little bit of a balance where it's not full feminine, but it's also not like super macho. The right woman could pull this off. Age groups, maybe a little mature because of the floral, the lily of the valley. If you're used to like things like Paco Rabanne, Million Elixir, and other sweet ones, I actually don't know all the names because I don't wear any of them. This one is not, it's going to be very different, but don't sleep on it. I would say if you're a younger guy and you like Soapy stuff, maybe you like Drakkar Noir. This isn't Drakkar Noir, but if you like that kind of Soapy style, this is one. Give it a shot. It's a $1 sample. You might fall in love like I just did. Seasons, I think this is going to work on all seasons. I will say, yes, springtime. Springtime and summer, maybe it may come to its peak and all that and like fit in the most, but honestly, this is a any day, anytime, dumb reach. I did mention that this stuff performs very well in the cold weather, so it does work well in the winter time. Okay, so based on this review, what do you think? Is this something that you've been interested in trying, or is this something you'd have a pass on? Or maybe it's something you've already tried. Leave me a comment below. Also, what did you like about this review? What didn't you like? What would you like to see more of? Leave me a comment about that. And then last thing is, I've been getting a request for a QA video. If you have any questions that you'd like to see me answered about any of the scents I reviewed, fragrances, or just in general, leave me a comment. I'm starting to compile them, and then at some point when I have enough, I will create a nice QA video. So that's all I have for you today. Don't forget, waft kindness to others. Wishing you the best.